Hello everyone, I'm back. Today I'm going to tackle a couple subjects. One is government waste, and then the other is the food stamp program. To get started, I'm going to read off some of the things that I looked up of the outrageous government waste. The first one is $30 million to help Pakistani mango farmers. Now this is all money that we spent this last year, not 30 years ago, not 20 years ago, but in this last year. $767,000 for a pancake house in D.C. $120 million to dead former government employees. Ex-employees, they're dead, and somebody's getting these checks and they're cashing them. $120 million worth. $652,000 for an Oklahoma visitor center. Now the deal with this center is it's on this one stretch of highway that they want to put another one up. Well, there's already 3 on that very same stretch of highway. But now they got the money for a 4th one. $113,000 to study the history of video games. $484,000 to build a Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers in Arlington, Texas. Now you know, for somebody to get the government to pay $500,000 to build them a pizza parlor, that this person has written a couple $10,000 checks to politicians for their re-election campaign. So he greases the wheel for $20,000, $30,000, and then they make sure the government, us, pays $500,000 to build him a pizza place. $100,000 to promote celebrity chef in Indonesia. $10 million for a Pakistani Sesame Street. $550,000 for a documentary on how rock and roll helped end the Cold War. And $702,000 to bring TV to 14 remote Vietnamese villages to study how TV affects their lives. Like I said, all of these things have happened in the last year. It's not some thing that, we used to do, but we don't do anymore. We do this and many, many more. There's hundreds of millions of dollars that we waste every year. And it's on stupid stuff. And it's on stuff that it's not accident we waste it. These government officials are putting this in. It's called earmarks or pork. They're putting in all this stupid stuff to pay off people so they contribute to their re-election accounts. Now that gets me upset, but that's not the big thing that gets me upset. What gets me upset is now the far right and the food stamp program. They want to cut the food stamps. Now what's the food stamps do? It helps people with little money to no money to be able to buy food. Now is there going to be some people that get on the food stamp program that don't really need it or could afford to actually get by without it? Yeah, there's always going to be some, but very little, percentage-wise, very little. But the far right, they're going to go on this rant. It's already starting. They want to make cuts to the food stamp program. The Democrats, trying to work with the Republicans, have proposed cutting the food stamp program $10 billion over 10 years. And that seems like quite a bit to me. I wish they wouldn't cut it a penny. But the Republicans are saying they want to cut it $40 billion over 10 years. Basically, they want to do away with the food stamp program. With all this waste that's going on, I don't hear anyone saying, hey, we got to stop paying for pizza parlors and IHOPs. We got to quit giving money to Pakistan. They're not against that. They're all for that because for some reason it ties into them. But by God, free food to hungry people, we need to put a stop to that. We need to cut that to the bone. You know, what kills me about the far right too, most of them claim to be the ones that believe in God. I mean, the far right, they think that's it. We're the true believers of God. And yet they support, or they don't have a problem, or they don't come out against wasteful spending like this, but they'll hold signs in the street about food stamps. To me, the two lowest priorities there should ever be in cutting budgets is food stamps and free lunch for school programs. In my mind, because I've read the good book a few times, and if you worship the God in that book, he says there will always be poor people, always. Till the end of time, there will be poor people. And we always have a moral obligation to help them any way we can. So if you're serving that God, and you get all wound up over this, and you're not wound up over all the waste that they're spending, if this is a priority to you, then I would say really the God you worship is green and has a president's face on it. I'm going to let it go because I could really get going if I didn't stop myself. This is Randy reminding you, don't follow the far right to hell.